Sometimes we move forward in life, but inside we are still standing in the same place. Our feet walk, time passes, but our hearts remain tied to yesterday, to a mistake, a loss, a word someone said, or something we said to ourselves. It's easy to think that because something happened once, it will define us forever. But the truth is different. The past is not a sentence, it is a lesson. Every error, every fall, every moment of pain teaches us something, if only we allow it. The problem is that we often turn these lessons into chains. We carry guilt, fear, and regret like heavy stones in our pockets, and then wonder why life feels so hard. The moment you realize that you are not your mistakes is the moment you begin to be free. Mistakes are not prisons. They are signs that you are human, that you tried, that you fell, and that you survived. You can choose to let go of the guilt that has been holding you back. You can release the fear that whispers, "You are not enough, you are unworthy, you will fail again." You can consciously decide that yesterday's pain will not control today or tomorrow. It's not easy. Letting go may bring tears, doubts, and moments of weakness, but each small act of release is a step toward freedom. Each time you forgive yourself, each time you decide not to be a prisoner of your past, you reclaim a piece of your life. Remember, the past can teach, but it cannot imprison unless you allow it. Holding on to regret doesn't honor the lessons, it only keeps you from walking your path. You might have made choices you regret, you might have hurt someone or yourself, but that does not define who you are at your core. You are more than your failures. You are the person who can rise, who can take a deep breath, and who can step forward even when your hands shake and your heart whispers doubts. Strength is not about perfection. Strength is about resilience. Strength is about choosing to move forward step by step, despite fear, pain, and uncertainty. And while you may fear that letting go of the past means forgetting, it does not. It means learning. It means growing. It means standing taller than yesterday's shadows. The past is a teacher, not a master. You can remember it, learn from it, honor it, and still refuse to be ruled by it. Each day you choose to release guilt, fear, and resentment, you take a small but powerful step into the life that is waiting for you. A life of possibility, joy, and growth. So today, ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is keeping you from moving forward? Is it guilt from a mistake? Fear of failing again? Regret for something you cannot change? Whatever it is, give yourself permission to let it go. Release it consciously. Say to yourself, "This is my past, not my prison. I choose to move forward. I choose freedom. I choose life." And then take that first step. Life is waiting on the other side of your courage. It's waiting for you to breathe, to trust, and to walk boldly toward your future. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be willing to start again. Every step you take away from your past is a victory. Every act of letting go is a statement, "I am not defined by what happened yesterday. I am defined by the choices I make today." If this message resonates with you, don't just read it, act on it. And if you want more inspiration, reminders to let go, and encouragement to live fully, hit the subscribe button. Join a community of people choosing to move forward, step by step, leaving the past behind and embracing the life they were meant to live. Because your future is waiting, and it's brighter than you think. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many believe that to forgive means to justify or excuse the wrongs done to us. But true forgiveness is not about condoning someone else's actions. It is about releasing ourselves from the chains of resentment, anger, and pain. It is about reclaiming our power and our peace of mind. Until we forgive, consciously and fully, we remain prisoners of the past, tethered to moments that no longer serve us. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to freedom, allowing us to step forward with clarity and strength. Holding on to anger or grudges can feel like justice. It may seem right to punish ourselves through resentment, to replay old hurts over and over, convincing ourselves that our suffering is deserved. Yet in reality,
Clinging to this pain does not change the past. It does not correct the mistakes or erase the harm done. Instead, it keeps us trapped, turning our hearts into battlegrounds where the war never ends. True strength does not lie in revenge, in retaliation, or in making the other person pay. Strength is the courage to break the cycle of pain, to stop feeding the fire of bitterness, and to choose a path that leads to healing. Forgiveness is a conscious choice. It does not erase memories or remove the consequences of actions. It does not require pretending that nothing happened. Instead, it allows us to acknowledge the hurt, to feel it, and then to let it go. It is a decision to release the grip that past wrongs hold over our hearts and minds. This act is often the hardest because it requires honesty, vulnerability, and courage. We must face the fact that we cannot rewrite history and that the people who hurt us may never apologize or recognize their wrongdoing. But in choosing forgiveness, we are not giving them a pass. We are giving ourselves life. When we forgive, we regain control over our own emotions. We no longer allow someone else's actions to dictate our feelings or our choices. We step out of the shadows of the past and into the light of the present. Forgiveness transforms our pain into wisdom and our struggle into resilience. It allows us to breathe freely without the weight of anger pressing down on our chests. It reminds us that our lives belong to us, not to the mistakes, failures, or cruelty of others. The power of forgiveness is not abstract, it is deeply practical. It influences every aspect of our well-being, mental, emotional, and even physical. Studies show that those who forgive experience lower levels of stress, reduced anxiety, and improved relationships. Letting go of grudges frees space for empathy, compassion, and love. It allows us to engage with the world fully without the constant burden of bitterness clouding our perception. When we forgive, we reclaim the energy that resentment had stolen, channeling it into growth, creativity, and joy. True forgiveness is an act of courage. It is standing up to the voice in your mind that insists, I cannot let go, I cannot be free, I must remember the wrongs. It is saying, I acknowledge what happened, I honor my pain, but I will not let it define me any longer. In this act, the cycle of hurt ends. The chains that bind us fall away, and we discover a sense of peace that no revenge could ever provide. Forgiveness does not mean weakness. On the contrary, it requires strength, patience, and resilience. It is a deliberate choice to step out of the patterns of retaliation and victimhood. It is the recognition that our lives are too valuable to be spent in the shadows of someone else's actions. By choosing to forgive, we embrace freedom, allowing ourselves to live fully, openly, and with purpose. Ultimately, forgiveness is about reclaiming life. It is the path to emotional liberation and the foundation for lasting inner peace. By letting go of what we cannot change, we open the door to what we can create. We free our hearts, lighten our spirits, and step forward into a life defined not by the pain of the past, but by the possibilities of the present and the promise of the future.
Fear and doubt are often seen as obstacles, signs that we should stop, turn back, or play it safe. Yet these feelings are not enemies, they are signals. They mark the edge of the familiar, the border between what we know and what we have yet to discover. Fear is not a stop sign, it is a compass pointing toward growth, toward new possibilities, toward the life we are meant to live. Every time your heart races, every time your hands shake, every time a voice whispers, "What if you fail?" remember that this is not a warning to retreat, it is an invitation to move forward. Doubt, too, is a natural companion on the journey. It creeps in quietly, casting shadows over our confidence and amplifying our fears. We question our abilities, our choices, and even our worthiness.
But doubt does not mean weakness. It is proof that you care, that you are on the edge of something meaningful. The moments when you feel unsure are often the moments when growth is just beyond your reach. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means acting in spite of it. It means taking a step forward, even when every instinct tells you to hesitate. True courage is born through action. It begins with small steps, sometimes trembling steps toward the unknown. You do not need to see the entire path before you take the first move. You do not need perfect certainty, perfect conditions, or perfect timing. The first step is not about bravery without fear. It is about choosing to act despite the fear. That act alone transforms fear into power. It transforms doubt into momentum. Each step taken in the presence of fear strengthens the spirit, builds resilience, and teaches that the heart can withstand uncertainty and still move forward. Many wait for the perfect moment, a time when conditions feel right, when confidence feels complete, when the path is clear. But that moment rarely, if ever, arrives. Life is not neatly packaged with guarantees. Growth, change, and transformation come in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of discomfort, in the midst of trembling hands and racing hearts. Waiting for perfection keeps us stagnant. Action, even imperfect action, is what propels us forward. Today is always the right day to begin. Here is always the right place to take the first step. Fear also teaches us. It shows us where our limits are, where we have been safe for too long, and where we are ready to expand. It is a teacher, not a jailer. When you face fear, you learn the truth about your strength, your resilience, and your capacity to endure. You discover that the unknown is not as frightening as your imagination makes it, and that the life waiting on the other side of fear is richer and more vibrant than the life confined by safety. Doubt and fear will never fully disappear. They are part of being human, but they do not have to control you. The secret is not in eliminating fear, but in learning to act in spite of it. Step forward when your heart races. Speak up when your hands shake. Begin when your mind says, "I'm not ready." That single act of moving forward, even in uncertainty, is the foundation of courage. One step leads to the next, and momentum grows. What once seemed impossible becomes achievable. What once seemed frightening becomes familiar. In truth, courage is a series of small, deliberate choices. Each time you act despite fear, each time you move despite doubt, you expand your capacity for life. You learn that fear is not the enemy, it is the signal that you are crossing into new territory. You learn that courage is not the absence of trembling, it is the willingness to walk with it. You learn that the journey forward begins the moment you take the first step, here and now, without waiting for perfection, without waiting for certainty, without waiting for permission. Fear and doubt are not reasons to stop. They are reminders that you are alive, that you are growing, that you are stepping into the unknown. The only way to overcome them is through action. Step forward, move despite uncertainty. Begin today, even if your hands shake and your heart races. For it is in these trembling steps that courage is born, and it is through these steps that life opens up in ways you never imagined.
Too often, we believe that strength comes from being perfect, never making mistakes, never failing, and always having it all together. But the truth is, strength does not come from perfection. Strength comes from movement, from the willingness to rise after a fall, from the courage to keep going even when the path is uncertain. Life is not a test of flawlessness. It is a journey of resilience. Every stumble, every error, every moment of doubt is not a reflection of weakness. It is an invitation to grow stronger, to learn, and to move forward. No one is expected to be perfect. The human experience is defined by mistakes and setbacks, by struggles and challenges that test our endurance. What matters is not that we never fall, but that we have the courage to stand up again. Each time we rise after a failure, we prove to ourselves that our worth is not measured by our perfection, but by our perseverance. Every time we choose to continue, despite fear, Despite uncertainty, we strengthen our character and expand our capacity to live fully. Mistakes and failures are not badges of shame. They are stepping stones on the road to growth. They do not define who we are at our core. Instead, they reveal our humanity and our capacity to overcome. Every fall teaches a lesson, every misstep offers insight, and every setback provides the opportunity to approach life with greater wisdom. The person who never fails may never truly learn, never truly grow, and never experience the depth of resilience that comes from moving through difficulty. Strength is not a state we achieve before the journey begins. It is cultivated along the way. It is forged in the process of taking steps, even when the path is unclear. It is built in the moments when we feel tired, unsure, or afraid, but continue to move forward anyway. True power lies not in having all the answers or in avoiding mistakes, but in the decision to rise each time we fall, to keep walking even when the destination is uncertain. Every small step forward, every act of perseverance creates momentum that transforms doubt into confidence and fear into courage. The road to growth is rarely straight or smooth. There will be obstacles, detours, and moments when giving up seems easier than pressing on. But those who understand that strength comes from movement, not perfection, embrace these challenges as part of the journey. They do not wait for the perfect conditions to start or restart. They act, even in uncertainty. Each effort, no matter how imperfect, adds to their resilience and moves them closer to their goals. The process itself becomes the teacher, showing that progress is made one step at a time, not all at once. It's important to remember, you are not defined by the moments you fall, but by the courage to rise. You are not defined by your mistakes, but by your willingness to keep moving forward. Life rewards those who act, not those who wait for perfection. The decision to continue, despite fear or doubt, is what separates those who remain stagnant from those who grow, adapt, and ultimately thrive. Movement creates strength. Movement creates opportunity. Movement creates life. If this message resonates with you, remember that strength is within your reach every time you choose to move forward. Every time you rise after a fall, every time you try again, you are building resilience, courage, and character. Start where you are, take the next step, and trust that strength grows in motion. And if you want more inspiration, guidance, and encouragement to keep moving forward despite challenges, make sure to subscribe. Join a community of people who understand that perfection is not the goal, growth is. Keep stepping, keep rising, and together we will embrace the journey, one courageous step at a time.
Human beings are not meant to walk through life alone. No one is designed to face every challenge in isolation or to carry every burden on their own shoulders. We are social creatures, wired to connect, to share, and to rely on one another in ways both large and small. The presence of another person, whether a friend, family member, mentor, or even a stranger, can transform a seemingly impossible journey into something manageable, even hopeful. Support is not a sign of weakness, it is a reflection of our humanity. Recognizing the value of others in our lives is an essential step toward growth, resilience, and fulfillment. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that independence means strength, that asking for help is a failure, or that needing someone diminishes our worth. Yet the truth is the opposite. Accepting support is not weakness, it is wisdom. Just as iron is shaped and strengthened in the fire, so too are we shaped by the connections and support we receive from those around us. Life's challenges often demand more than one person can provide alone. The presence of someone who listens, encourages, or simply sits beside us in silence can be the difference between despair and hope, between giving up and moving forward. Connection offers more than practical help. It provides emotional sustenance, a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. When we share our fears, our doubts, or our pain, we lighten the burden. Others may not be able to solve our problems, but their presence validates our experience and affirms our humanity. Knowing that someone sees us, understands us, or simply stands with us creates a foundation of trust and courage. It allows us to take risks, to attempt what we might have avoided in isolation, because we know that even if we stumble, we are not falling alone. Mutual support is a two-way street. Just as we receive help, we also have the opportunity to provide it. Offering support to others strengthens our own resilience and creates a web of connection that benefits everyone involved. When we assist, guide, or comfort someone else, we reinforce the values of empathy, compassion, and community. This reciprocity reminds us that life is not meant to be endured alone, but shared, that our struggles and triumphs are interconnected, and that the act of supporting another person often teaches us more about ourselves than any solitary effort ever could. In moments of challenge, it is common to feel isolated, as though no one could possibly understand the weight we carry. Yet even in these moments, support is often closer than we think. It may be hidden behind simple gestures, a message, a phone call, a kind word, or a quiet presence. Sometimes it is someone who has walked a similar path and whose experience can guide us. Other times it is someone whose strength simply reminds us that we too are capable of standing tall. To receive help, however, we must first open ourselves to it. We must acknowledge that connection is not only necessary, but also a gift. Life is full of trials that cannot be faced alone. Pain, doubt, fear, and uncertainty touch every human being. Yet through connection, these burdens become lighter. Just as iron becomes stronger when tempered in fire, so do we grow stronger when shaped by support, encouragement, and companionship. Relationships are not just sources of comfort, they are instruments of transformation, allowing us to rise above our limitations and to discover strengths we might never have known existed. Ultimately, connection and support remind us of our shared humanity. They teach us that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a doorway to courage. They show us that we do not need to bear life's challenges alone, and that the act of standing together, of offering and accepting support, creates resilience, hope, and meaning. Just as fire tempers iron, the presence of others tempers our hearts, shaping us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate human beings.
Life is not meant to be a museum where we preserve every mistake, every failure, and every regret. Too often, people carry their past as if it were a permanent exhibit, cataloging every error and wearing it like a badge of shame. But life is a journey, not a static display of what went wrong. The past can be remembered, but it should never dictate the present or control the future. We have the power to honor our experiences without being imprisoned by them, to learn from them without letting them define us. Remembering the past is natural and even valuable. Each mistake carries a lesson. Each setback holds insight, and each failure offers wisdom that can guide us forward. Yet there is a crucial distinction between remembering and living there. Dwelling in what has already happened keeps us stuck, unable to move, unable to grow. The past, when held too tightly, becomes a chain, binding us to places and moments we cannot change. True freedom begins when we loosen that grip, when we allow ourselves to breathe fully in the present and step courageously into what lies ahead. A person who is truly alive knows that the ability to start again is always within reach. No matter how heavy the burden of past regrets or mistakes may feel, each breath is an invitation to move forward. Every day presents new steps, new opportunities, and new encounters that can reshape our path. Life unfolds moment by moment, and the ones who thrive are those willing to leave behind the weight of yesterday.
Starting anew is not a matter of forgetting. It is a matter of choosing to live fully in the here and now, embracing possibility rather than dwelling in what cannot be changed. The journey of life is not linear, and it is certainly not perfect. There will be stumbles, setbacks, and moments when doubt creeps in. Yet each step, no matter how small, is a testament to resilience and courage. Each choice to move forward, even when fear whispers to turn back, is an affirmation that life is more than our past mistakes. Growth does not come from dwelling on failure. It comes from action, persistence, and the willingness to embrace new experiences. Every step away from the shadow of regret is a step toward freedom, joy, and self-discovery. When we stop allowing the past to control us, life opens in ways we could not have imagined. Doors appear where walls once stood. Opportunities arise where fear once dominated. Relationships, dreams, and experiences become accessible when we step out of the weight of what was and move into the possibilities of what can be. Living fully is not about perfection, it is about movement, courage, and the conscious decision to engage with life as it unfolds. It is about choosing to focus on what we can create, what we can learn, and what we can experience, rather than what we regret. If this message resonates with you, remember that every moment is a chance to take a step forward. The life waiting for you is not in the mistakes you've made or the regrets you carry. It is in the choices you make today and tomorrow. You are not defined by what has happened. You are defined by your willingness to move, to grow, and to embrace new possibilities. Your journey is unique, and every step you take toward life, rather than toward the shadows of the past, brings you closer to your true potential. And if you want more inspiration, guidance, and encouragement to keep moving forward, make sure to subscribe. Join a community of people who understand that life is not a museum of mistakes, but a path full of opportunities, growth, and renewal. Together, we can embrace the journey, step by step, leaving the past behind and walking boldly into the life that awaits.